Alright, everybody. Let's see, continue with basic touch. Oh, I've been disconnected from the server. Great. Okay. Xdefiant. Please reload. I still don't know why these things have quick resume. Seriously. Like, it makes no sense to me.
I know.
Anyway, let me just also... pop out the chat. There we go. Okay. So, welcome everybody to Xdefiant. Thank you for joining the stream, Dynamic Punch. I have been playing a little bit of this game today, and I like it fine. That's what this show is about. It's about whether this game is fine, fire, or nah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you too. Like, I played, I think, 2 matches last week. I was like, this is alright, and then I uninstalled. But, I'm willing to try it out again.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked it. The feel is very much similar to Call of Duty. It would be like if Overwatch's game modes and Call of Duty's gunplay had a baby, and then they picked the most generic versions of every Ubisoft character. Though, I have to say, whenever I get to her, I really want the third echelon girl. Because she's cute. Anyway. Oh, Adelon Knight Academy. Oh, of course they have an ad for a skin. Anyway, I guess just invite me to play.
Okay.
So, also, I wanted to know, what did you think of the story of Borderlands the pre-sequel at the end?
It was interesting. So that, I didn't realize how close to the ending we were when we were playing together. And, like, I had, like, one story mission left, so I ran through that. That final boss was, like, cool looking, but I also had a gun that, like, melted it in 5 seconds. So,
yeah, that's Borderlands for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time, and I kind of just rolled straight into 2, where I already had a character. And I was going to maybe start a new character, but I tried out the other classes, and it's like, oh, no, I made the right decision 5 years ago. I like the Techromancer.
Oh, Techromancer. That was my main class in Borderlands 2 as well, when I first played it on Steam 13 years ago.
I always just like the idea of having a secondary attacker that you can summon, you know? Whether it be a turret, or in this case, a big robot
did you start the thing yet? Sorry.
No, I was just looking at the playlist.
That's fair. I was just curious. Anyway.
Is there any mode in particular you prefer?
I'm still on the welcome playlist, I think. I don't really know.
I passed that and just like I just went straight into the
confident
modes when I played.
Sure. Well, whatever you want to do. You're the party leader here.
Welcome playlists. Maybe I'll have a better time with that because when I play, I just skipped straight into some of the like zone capture modes, and I did like okay at them. But you know, it might help be better to have a good on ramp. Because some of the people I was playing against seemed to know the maps much better.
Yeah, we're even the skill-based matchmaking for the welcome playlist is very weird. Anyway, in order to not bother everybody else, I'm gonna try and mute my settings. Nope. I guess we're rolling.
Zoo. Okay. Oh, it's an escort. I haven't done this mode yet.
I think this might be a Far Cry 4 reference. Yeah, it's definitely Kirat's National Zoo. Though I don't think that was ever mentioned in the games. Yeah, I mean, like, it's very fun to be like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, I do. Wasn't there like one of those missions that you do at the zoo or something? Or am I thinking of something? There's some big open area that...
But... yeah, it's okay. I mean, there would have needed a place to keep all those. Alright, time to escort the package. Anyway.
Which class are you playing?
The BioVita girl with the... Which, it's very strange to me, thematically, that a Resistance woman would have BioVita, like, at all. Like, that was the whole point of the Resistance in Far Cry 6. But then again, I'm annoying about thematic elements and stuff in these sorts of things. It probably doesn't matter when it's a multiplayer game, but The thing is that I like the gameplay enough to play it every once in a while and get that Call of Duty feel while I wait for Black Ops 6 to finally come to Game Pass. But
it's right there. Okay.
I kind of hate what this game represents. It's hard to talk about while I'm getting shot at, but I'm about to take out this person. There we go. Oh, I was on a roll! Ah.
Alright. With the package.
Okay, well... I thought the grenade would be on a cooldown, but it's not. Yeah, I did a package transport reason. It's literally just push from Overwatch. But that's not a bad thing.
I mean, that mode works pretty well.
Well, the only thing I'd say critically about this mode is that, it can be very hard for the attacking team towards the end because there's not the mid-checkpoint gates. Or if there are, if there are, I haven't seen them. Or maybe it's just too chaotic to really have a flow with many of the maps. Anyway. So... Oh! Crap! There's somebody flanking on the left. Thank you for joining the stream, Jordan. Appreciate you.
I don't even know what killed me there. Oh, frag. Okay.
Yeah, it can be kind of hard to figure out what kills you sometimes. And I think the cleaners are overpowered. Because they have that purifier flamethrower that kills you in literally 2 seconds. The time to kill is very, very low.
I mean, that's the same thing that keeps me away from Call of Duty logs. I'm not a huge fan of the low time to kill stuff.
Well, they've improved that somewhat over the years, and you should know that the Black Ops series is on the higher end of Call of Duty, like...
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna play Black Ops 6 with it being essentially free for me.
Exactly. That's what Microsoft is counting on for the loyal Xbox audience.
Okay, so there is a...
So they get the Xbox engagement and continue justifying the hardware as a Game Pass box. That's what Xbox is now. And, you know what? In that sense, I'm glad I didn't spend $50 on Hellblade 2. Because... it's fine so far. Like, the graphics are really great, but it's the same rock landscape that Xbox has been showing off for 4 years. Because I'm guessing that they used pre-development stuff from Hellblade for that, because the rocks were really cool. The rocks are really cool in this game. And I have to say that the new kinematic system makes the combat a lot more impactful. But they still insist on those stupid focus puzzles that I hate. Because for as much as they crow about being sensitive to schizophrenics and stuff like that, they are not very neurodivergent friendly with those puzzles. Like, there are all sorts of gameplay options to the point of, like, basically making the combat play itself if you really wanted to. But they don't have any kind of highlights for the puzzles or hints. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West lead in the opposite direction. Quite hard, actually, and speaking of which, most of the state of play was fine as well. I don't know, it's hard to get excited about gaming stuff right now, but, like, the most surprising thing was definitely Astro.
Yeah, that game looks so good. I mean, the previous Astro games have been great.
Yeah,
so
and I'm jealous that I don't have a PS5 right now. Because for Concord, like, I'll check it out when it comes to PC for the beta. And then you'll probably play it on your PS5. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be free to play. Like, there's no way that any multiplayer game that isn't Call of Duty or Battlefield can compete without being free to play anymore. At least not on the scale that these live service games demand. So, the thing is, though, with Concord, I was like, wait a minute. I think I had started a few minutes late And so I was like, wait a minute, is this Beyond Good and Evil 2? Are they finally showing off that game?
I don't know if we'll ever see that game.
And then I wondered if it was Star Wars Outlaws somehow, but no. It's just that they generically grafted on the Guardians of the Galaxy humor onto generic copies
that
of
was
those
the
characters.
immediate thing that I saw. Was like, okay, this is like off-brand Guardians of the Galaxy.
Pretty much.
That part of it doesn't really like appeal to me in that kind of game, but you know, the gameplay could be all right.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll try it on my, and hopefully it'll be compatible with my Steam Deck, because I have nothing else to play it on without a PS5. Like, I don't know. I thought they would do something about Marathon.
They haven't shown that off yet. Feels like kind of due. Though I guess Bungie's pretty busy with getting all their Destiny 2
And
stuff
then,
out.
to be honest, they mostly had a bunch of filler Japanese games. I'm sorry. Most of them blurred together after a bit. Like, the problem with gaming right now is it's too focused on alpha effects. You know, it makes things very hard to read. And I can just about keep up with most games at this rate, but like, it is still very hard to like get excited when all these games kind of blend together. So let's discuss that. Just in case somebody tries to be cheeky and flank us. What?
I got flashbang.
Okay. Thank you for joining the stream, Sarah D. We are pushing the push bot. It's essentially an all but name from Overwatch. And this team is completely falling apart against us. I had 5 health there. That was crazy. Well. Oh no, I've got flamethrower again. At least you can send an angry emoji to the person who got you. Like, that's innovative, I guess. Again, like, I'll play this a few times. Hopefully, like, it's fun. But gaming is turning into popcorn. Like, I just... Okay, that is a giant drop shield, for some reason. I haven't encountered that before in this game. Anyway, like... Everything's turning into who can have the most characters on screen that people understand. Like, Marvel Rivals? Whatever it's called.
Rivals.
I don't care. Rivals. It just looks like... boring. I don't know what to say. Like, it looks boring and
I mean,
messy.
it's very Overwatch adjacent. I can
Yeah,
say
but
that.
like, even more overstimulation-y, at least from the trailers. And of course, Sony has to have their pound of flesh when it comes to Spider-Man. Like, can they stop?
I mean, it's just a skin at least, right? So.
I know, but like... Well, I mean... The thing is, again, with the Sony ports to PC, because I was like kind of hoping there was a sequel to Until Dawn, but nope. Like, that they had just been like, okay, here, take this IP, but no, it's just a remaster. Because that's absolutely what they needed. Said no one ever. The PS4 game looked fine. When I played it, however many years ago? I don't even remember.
To be fair, their tech has advanced since 2015.
Yeah, but the gameplay won't.
Okay. Yeah.
The gameplay of Until Dawn won't. It's still the same interactive movie.
Send the enemy's package back.
And at a certain point, the graphics are overkill for what this game is.
I mean, but, you know, there's always going to be a new audience who just hasn't, you know...
That's true, and the
that
PC
game
port
came
would be
out
helpful,
in
but...
the early-ish PS4 generation.
I guess
They've had
so.
a lot of new players come into their ecosystem since then.
Yeah,
So,
and I'll probably get it with
you
a
know.
CD key, like I've got in every Sony game
Yeah,
on
and it
Steam.
gives him a chance to put it on PC as well.
Again, they're not gonna make any frickin' money from this because of CD keys and people being cheap on Steam waiting for sales. Cause like, why would I buy God of War Ragnarok when it comes to PC for full price when it will probably be on sale, and I haven't even picked up God of War 1, or Reboot 1, you know what I mean.
Yeah, 2018.
On PS4 and PS5, and didn't really get into it that time. And Ragnarok was the reason I got a PS5, and it was boring. I'm sorry. It's not that it's a bad game, it's just that it was boring for whatever reason to me. I don't know what it is. Is it the slow movement? Is it the constant talking? Is it the... Whatever. It's fine.
For what it's worth, I'm not into the God of War games. Not the newer ones, at least.
Yeah, but like, basically, here's what Sony fans got. Okay? A couple of PC ports, a smattering of Japanese action games that are very generic looking. Monster Hunter Wilds, which I want to hear your thoughts on that.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, I would say I'm like a casual Monster Hunter fan. I mostly play up to the end game, where the real game starts. But it looked great.
Maybe this will be the Monster Hunter I finally get into? Like, that doesn't have UI vomit? Maybe? I don't know. These kinds of problems can be very hard for me to overcome.
Bad in that regard. I think World kind of got a little overzealous with that stuff, but Rise felt a little streamlined.
Okay, yeah. Mostly with Rise, when I rented it,
I can imagine they'd go further in that direction.
Mostly with Rise, when I rented it, I couldn't really get into it because of the performance on the Switch. But,
Okay. Well, we did play it once when it came to Xbox, I think, right? We played briefly.
yeah, yeah, I guess? I don't remember it then.
I'm pretty sure we played, like, when it came to Game Pass, at least once.
Okay, well, I forgot.
Provide first aid.
Lots of games come and go with this service. Hard to keep track of them all. Oh no! I was about to pop my
So
cancer
we can make
curing
it
drug
retreat. That's good.
as a heal. Okay. Still can't get over that clash. I'm sorry. The entire point of Far Cry 6. Whatever. A lot of gaming is just whatever right now. Oh no! No! Arg. Well, lol. That's all I could reply with.
Set up your sabotage.
I mean, at this rate, we're probably okay.
Opening a can of Helas.
A can of Helas? Who wrote these lines?
Yeah, some of the dialogue barks leave a little bit to be desired.
At least it's better than, what's it called? Not Combat Citizen, which is a crypto game I've been watching clips of from this one guy named John, and he's a reviewer of terrible NFT games. So they literally just flipped the Lyra template from Unreal Engine 5 and thought they could get away with it, so they just like had the most generic barks possible for this. And since there are no humans online, because there never are for NFT games anymore since the bubble popped like 2 years ago, it's all bots who are completely dumb. I'm mixed on the bot being able to resupply ammo. I don't know. I think this is my favorite map so far, though.
Yeah, I like this map. There's a lot
because it actually has a flow.
Stuff going on. Yeah, I played 2 different maps on my first couple of games and wasn't really a fan of either of them. So this one's definitely better than those. And I
thought
like
it wouldn't have a flow.
I have right now. I like the little shield.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Enemy cleared another checkpoint.
I like the sustain I can do as a tank with that heal button, which I did not use in time. Oops. But you know what I played today? Other than, of course, a bunch of crap champions, because that game has its literal claw pinched on me, is a free-to-play shooter called Red Eclipse that I would never have found out about if... Oh, okay, achievement. That I would never have found out about if it hadn't been for... I think, again, this John person, who reviewed an NFT ripoff called Beige, or something like that. When you watch a bunch of these videos in a row while building your couch...
Bad guys are almost at our progress point. Regroup.
But, anyway. So, thank you for joining the stream, Bow Mouth Mama. Appreciate it. Alright, anyway.
Enemy spy activated sonar goggles.
Red Eclipse is basically a Quake spiritual successor.
Okay.
It like, just jump pads and, crazy weapons and vats of acid you can accidentally frag yourself with, and announcer voice, and all of that. And nobody plays it! Well, not nobody. I was able to get a full server in the official server, but they also advertise the community creation aspect, and there's barely any other servers. This is free to play on Steam. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is there's just so much competition these days that
is
even
true.
all that stuff isn't always enough. There's also just a lot of right place, right time to any game release.
Yeah, even IP isn't a guarantee anymore. Look at what happened to Multiversus.
Yeah.
Who knows if the relaunch will be successful at all. I'm lukewarm on it until they actually commit to supporting this game, and I actually find time to play it with the one person who is nearby who actually cares about platform fighters.
Package is retreating.
Who I did play a couple games offline with, and I believe we were on online team together while still being on the couch, so... I will say there's been some colorful chat in past games of this. Reminds me of Classic COD. A little bit, which, like... I mean, I don't know if that's really a time we should be going back to, contrary to some internet belief. Because, well, that time where you could say anything you wanted in chat was usually directed at women and minorities, so...
We're doing good at backing this thing off, at least so far.
Yeah, yeah. And we did get it all the way last time, right?
Yeah, I think...
Package is retreating.
Yeah, we did.
So it's likely that we win unless they make a large push at the end.
They're not doing good at pushing right now. We kind of got them in a good choke there. Just have to keep them there.
Their shield is helpful for them, I'm sure, but... Oh, come on, I wanted to throw down the thingy. The mine. Ults take such a long time, and even, regular abilities have a very long recharge. I don't know if it's just me. Okay, M481.
Fight's almost over, compay.
Oh.
I will admit the parkour is pretty cool, but it doesn't really compare to, like, the jump pads in Red Eclipse. So again, the reason why this game was featured at all was because some crypto bros lazily ripped it off, and then it took being reported by a YouTuber for that game to be taken down. And you know how they did it, which is actually pretty clever. the original developer, because they didn't even bother not using their own the original servers, was just able to put out an update to the clone game and say, "Look, you're playing the wrong game. The real game is Rid Eclipse."
Oh, okay.
See, the thing is about life is that the cheaters win for a short time, and it looks like they have the advantage, and then they finally fall. That's what I hope.
Ideally.
Yeah, hopefully. What to do? What else did I want to say? Well, like how Sony cheated about Neil Druckmann's comments. Holy,
I saw that.
like the lies. Why?
Yeah, like I wonder what happened there exactly. Like, did they like misquote him? Something got lost in communication? Did they make something up? I also saw it
Not that the
positive.
battle pass
Maybe
showing, by the way,
they
game.
ran it all through AI for the summary of it, and
Yeah, maybe.
some wires got crossed.
Like they just told an intern, just go summarize everything with AI. Because maybe Neil Druckmann went off topic for a while.
Or an intern did that as a shortcut.
Well, I mean,
no one would
yes,
notice.
and
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like, apparently, like I read in Eurogamer somewhere that like 82% of developers are using AI at some point in their development cycles. It mostly for animation rigging because that stuff is a pain in the ass. So I kind of get it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I don't think there are like.
This is what I said earlier.
AI is universally like, a bad thing. It has a lot of ways in which it can be misused or used in a way
something different.
that
Rolling on the target.
I'm gonna
Egg
roll
barrier.
I'm gonna roll with this barrier guy because I did pretty well with that.
Oh
last
well,
match.
that's me.
Seems like most of our team is.
So
We'll see how
I'm
this
gonna
goes.
try
I'll
with
change if needed.
I don't know how to change the abilities in game. I think you have to unlock them maybe.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, if it's just the animation part, then I'm fine with it. It's the dialogue
It's
that I'm
like
a bit
if
annoyed
it's something
about.
that helps people get work done and isn't something that's like jarring. Oh wait, we're doing domination. Okay.
Yep.
Staying cap this one.
Duh. Classic domination strategy.
Zone B. Zone's ours.
I'm gonna try flanking and go for a bold push to Zone A, even though I've never played this map before, because I'm a mad lad. Anyway, okay, well, you're toast. And I got double teamed. So let's see. You know what, I really should put the incinerator drone up. On the point, I think. Oh no! Okay, yeah, we're getting our butts handed to us right now, but
It's like a tie game.
But it'll be pretty quick if we don't take this point back. Ah!
Remember your training. Apply the fire to the bad guys. Capture zone contested.
Alright, throwing down a mine.
The bad guys down on the zone. Go scorch some earth.
Something building.
Well, time
Proximity
to
mine.
actually use the drone correctly.
Crews moving on zone A.
Darn,
We're going
okay.
on Zone A.
Alright, well. It's just that, like, here,
We got it.
Neil Druckmann would have said a lot of good things for you. You did not have
Yeah,
to.
like why would you do that to one of your top creatives, like so carelessly?
Because Sony isn't creative anymore. I mean, think about it. If the most exciting game that they currently have is Astro's Playroom, you know something's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sure it'll be a good game, but I don't know how much people will actually pay for it, because a lot of the reason why Astrobot got as popular as it was because it was included with every PS5.
Take 'em back.
I mean, I think we just need to like the one thing I'm a little concerned about with that game, although the trailer made it look like they have a lot of good ideas, is like fleshing all of that gameplay out into a full game. I'm a little concerned about those games were really great in those small chunks. So we'll see.
It could be like a Mario. It could be like a Mario 3D platformer where they
like that trailer made it look like, oh, this looks straight up Mario Galaxy Tower. If they can manage that in the full game, then it's like, okay.
Maybe it's worth $60 at that point.
Oh yeah.
But who would buy that at that price? It's too cartoony, right? But I was mentioning that would solve the pacing problem because usually one mechanic stays by one level. You would think, but no. I mean,
what I mean is, like, if it's a good game, it'll draw attention.
Yeah, it'll at least draw because of. I just don't know if this was a game from that hadn't had a free packing game, if it would actually sell.
Swapping max.
Scumbags on
Just because, well, not much actually sells anymore.
Setting a prompt.
Alright, setting. I'm basically playing this game on autopilot though. Cause like, my Call of Duty brain is just like, thank you! Something Call of Duty, like, until you get Call of Duty. The main thing I'm gonna be excited to play on Game Pass is Zombies. Even though it'll probably not be as good as classic Zombies game. You know what will be on Game Pass is classic Call of Duty. And that's how I'll get you into Call of Duty, is the old ones are the best. So,
yeah, I mean, I've played a bunch of the old ones. It's just, I would play them, you know, at a friend's place or borrow them for a little bit, not really beyond that, so.
Right, that's fair. That is very fair. But like, when did you start with that? Just curious.
When did I start with Call of Duty?
Yes.
2. And then I played the campaigns through 4, and then I dabbled in them since then. Like, I would say 2, 3, and 4 I played a lot of, and then increasingly less as time went on.
I'm excited to play with...
I played a bunch of, like, Modern Warfare 2, the first Black Ops, multiplayer mostly.
All good choices.
Time to roll up your sleeves.
But,
Zone's on.
no. I still wouldn't say that I'm very practice that thing, and I'm not a huge fan of them. So, like, I'll play them here and there, but I'm not as into that style of gameplay.
Yeah.
I never have been.
You know how I got into Call of Duty Zombies? They had an app for the iPad. The rigging and modeling and everything on it is terrible, but that was my first real exposure to that piece of it. The multiplayer, of course, as you mentioned, Call of Duty 2, the GOAT, for me, because it was my first multiplayer shooter, and I got completely creamed on PC, because of course I did. But that campaign was an eye-opener. I'm still going through it slowly on Veteran. Veteran campaigns are annoying. You do not need to do that to yourself.
I need to look through my achievements on that game, because I think I started that campaign on Veteran, made it decently far. I don't know if I ever beat it.
Well, the grenade spam is a constant with that series, so the Veteran modes are very hard to justify, in my opinion, but...
I remember trying to do the Mile High Club in Call of Duty 4 on Veteran.
Oh, God.
Ridiculous.
That's so annoying. I just quit right after that and went into mods that existed on the Mac App Store version of that game for some reason. But they were great. And included zombies on the Mac. Because Black Ops did not work at all on my Mac. That's how I tried to play it the first time. And I had to get a $50 refund from Apple. Because it nearly melted my computer. Oh darn, I should just use my ult now. What do I have to lose anyway? Oh, that's what it is. Okay. What? I got burninated by someone else who had a purifier before I could purify them back. Grr. Anyway. I feel like I've been doing decently, but 2 people can't carry a team.
Yeah, I'm doing much better than
You just
last
put
week.
in the work.
I'm much better at these types of modes.
Yeah, that's very fair to say as well.
How did I actually do, though? I didn't look at the leaderboards.
So, yeah, I'm excited for Call of Duty 2 to get its multiplayer population back. I'm hopeful that they announce Singularity. That won't get rid of all my anger at Microsoft, but it'll substantially abate it. Because then, like, maybe they actually do pursue a Singularity 2 or some new original IP from Raven Software. It's slim, but it's possible. I mean, they need smaller games, they said, right after they canned the one developer of their greatest small game. Just still with the hypocrisies and stuff. I have much more to mention though. And you know what's funny while I look for my phone? Is that, like, the annoying thing about all this is, wow, it really blends in with the new couch. Anyway, is that Apple said I couldn't have my Zombies game because I upgraded to a different iPad at some point or got rid of it. Like, but I got an old iPad mini, and I was able to re-download it. But if I hadn't gotten it, if I had tried out the trial like a lot of people probably would have, and said no thanks, the light version is what they usually called it back then I would never be able to access this game, because if you have digital-only distribution, then digital-only distribution you'll get, with all the quirks and facts about that. Like, I'm sorry, I am kind of, like, not with Epic Game Store coming to Xbox, just because, like, Epic Game Store has many of the usual games that people expect, but then its only defining feature is the crap that it has, for like $1.74. Or
Escort.
Blanco's blockchain party on Xbox.
Combustion transit all the time. It happens.
Let me do an assault preset, because we're getting into a position for... Well, I guess I could justify the LMG, but I want some variety. Let's see. Okay. Well, maybe this is the year that people get excited about Sony kind of again because of new hardware. Because the rumor that I've been reading has been that they have a PSP prepared that will play PS4 games.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if that ends up turning out to be true.
Yeah, I mean, would I get it? Probably not, because at this point Oh, I forgot to mention, I have started emulating on Steam Deck, and it is an emulation powerhouse.
That's what I've heard.
I'm not sure why EmuDeck hasn't seen all of my ROMs, but the ones that are being seen are the ones I was wanting to play anyway, like Burnout Legends and stuff. I will fiddle around with it later, I just want to play games. So I played a bit of Burnout Legends. That was fun. And then I got really into Portable Donkey Kong Country. Oh, that minecart. First minecart level. Minecart Carnage.
First Donkey Kong Country, yeah.
Yeah, it nearly made me break my Steam Deck.
I remember as a kid, I went over to my cousin's house and they were playing that, and we spent hours on that level.
Oh my god. It's just the amount of precision that you're required to do, and then how stringent the live system is, and how far apart the saving is. The thing is, there was supposed to be a community loadout that would allow me to skip all that by having a quick save slot like a modern emulator, but I don't know if I don't have the right emulator installed or the right, like, it's hard to think about these things while being attacked in this game, but What it said it had a save slot thing, but it doesn't work, and I don't know why. And it was supposed to be bound to the right trackpad, but I was like, do I click it? Do I tried touch release, it wasn't doing anything. And if I tried to change it to anything else other than untitled touch, unspecified touch menu, it would just not have those icons, and I couldn't get them back from like the Steam settings, so I'll figure it out later. Donkey Kong Country I don't need to play right now. It's cool that it works, and it's cool I can take it anywhere, but this is more of a home portable for me, and like, I played quite a bit of Bejeweled 3. I'm trying to have variety. On the go would be nice, and my iPad Mini 6 is coming today. Probably not gonna have games for that, but like, I think I'm gonna de-laptopify my entire work setup, because as much as I love the Surface laptop, I stepped on it, and the screen has an internal crack, and it is not distributing heat very well. And then like the USB-A port is a little bendy, also not great. The C port is a little scuffed up. I think it'll be fine for like a year if I can find a good deal on a Copilot PC. I mean, there's no rush right now. I'm waiting for my bonus to make this kind of big splurge. But like, if the iPad Mini 6 can do all the live streaming and the note-taking and the document creation with like a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, yeah, it kind of has a small screen, but I don't really need a laptop for it. And then, like, then I'll have room to throw a Steam Deck in my backpack and an iPad Mini, because I don't have to have the giant laptop with the charger. I can just have one USB-C cable for everything. I might even, like I mentioned, help my friend Billy get a Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes out, and then just be like, can I borrow it for a week? Because it's my account. That you're borrowing. Anyway, like, you know, these things must be mentioned because Windows appears to be floundering right now, and is all about Copilot in the PC. I'm pretty sure that button is going to be useless in a year, because
yeah, they've made these investments though, so they're committing to those investments, for better or for worse.
Yeah, the problem is that they are betting this bigly on this, because the problem with AI is that nobody really knows what AI means, and
it's a buzzword that means a million different things in different contexts.
There's machine learning, which is fine. It's just the
There's
computer
lots
is
of
taking
good
a
ways to
thing.
use it.
The computer is taking a thing it is looking at, and it is interpreting the data of that. These are things like AI reconstruction videos of historical footage that's old and grainy. It allows for interpretation.
That stuff is cool as long as you realize that there is, like, you know, wizardry going on. It's not 100% representative.
Right,
all the time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Then
you
there's
have to realize that it is, at the end of the day, it's an interpretive reconstruction, not like verifiable.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it's a tool in a historian's toolbox.
Yeah.
But then there's like the resolution stuff. It's basically just an algorithm that, again, is looking at that image and being like, okay, at this point, if this was full resolution, this frame rate would be this, so in order to have the frame rate be this, we then adjust this. That's literally it. That's also fine. I have been using that all the time to squeeze good performance out of my Steam Deck. I was getting decent performance on Crab Champions.
That's the thing, is like, with all these reconstruction techniques, it really renders a lot of the native 4K debate a little less relevant.
And also,
you have that, it's, you know,
it also
as
means
long
that
as your eyes can't tell the difference, then what's the point of going for full native 4K when you can use those techniques.
On 720p screens where your face is close to the screen, it's a little bit more noticeable, but it's also more acceptable. Like, for a few years, I could tell the difference between native and reconstructed 4K, but the reconstruction has gotten so good.
Exactly. Like, it's gotten better and
basically
better.
impossible now.
Like, I remember seeing it in, like, 2016 in some games and going, like, I don't know about this. There's a lot of weird artifacts happening, but these days it looks so good.
Yeah, because they've had time to perfect the technology. Yeah. And this means that people are going to be buying less hardware, holding on to their hardware for longer. It's not like a magic bullet for the environment when it comes to gaming, but it means that less things will be e-wasted because, like, you can have these games for longer on Xbox One and PS4. This is a net benefit for the consumer overall because people are not buying $500 game consoles during inflation. It might be cooling now, but it's not gone. And on average, people have incomes surpassing inflation, but the people who are having a lot of economic pain are really having a lot of economic pain, so they need to be accounted for too. Which means that it's important for them to have video games too. Like, this is common sense. So, I'm actually more okay with a long cross-gen period than I was. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten an Xbox Series X if this was going to be the case, because, well, I thought that it would be, the cross-gen period would be like 2 or 3 years, not 4.
Backwards.
And for many games,
I don't think
anyone
would have predicted this cross-gen period. Even the most long-winded predictions, I think, would have said 2 to 3 years, or said even 3 years tops. And the fact that we're still sort of in that is pretty wild.
Yeah,
but again,
exactly.
like you said, I don't think it's a terrible thing.
No,
there's still
it's not.
great games coming out.
The problem is that for a console industry that wants to sell upgrades, it makes their job harder. Because what they did was they embraced this technology in order to actually have good performing games at all. But then, now, with these overpowered consoles, they're just making better versions of that, because that was how the game industry survived, was reconstruction. So why would they bother with all of these native technologies for this new thing that makes it harder to sell your thing on a Nintendo Switch 2, or a PC, or an Xbox Series S? I certainly wouldn't if I was a big game developer. The economic uncertainty has around exclusives has only made Square Enix go, we're going multi-platform for everybody. Xbox, please stop asking. We're gonna give you our games in the future. I'm betting that a lot of them will be remasters because, well, people will buy them. And that's fine. That's a way to preserve these older games. Like, remastering a game from a generation ago is less justifiable to me. But at the same time, like, I kind of understand it.
Yeah, you're always going to have a new audience to buy it.
And like, if you just spent like $200 million on this game, you know what? Yeah, I get it. Sony needs to make money quickly, and so they're remastering a bunch of games. This is how you make money quickly in the game industry right now. Because as much as we want them to make a bunch of new games that are single-player, they have committed to the live service thing. They're hoping that their last roll of the dice with that is actually going to work, but they're hoping to insulate against risk by appeal to retro and remasters. Like, people like retro series, so like, yes, there are natively emulated PS5 games, or excuse me, PSP games on PS4 and PS5. But other than a laugh, that's not really why you're doing this. So perhaps they are making a new PSP that allows you to play PSP games legitimately by buying them, in which case, great. Meanwhile, I, who bought the physical versions of those when the hardware was far outdated for that sort of thing, and the disc spinning noises drove me insane, I will be fine with PPSSPP on my devices. Thank you very much. Like, this way I have a version of Jetpack Joyride that Apple can't take away from me. This way I have, what is it? God of War Chains of Sparta. You know, at least some God of War game on the go. Like, these games will sell handhelds because people like the old franchises and miss the old games. So just getting a PSP upscale for a portable PS4, which has already been proven to be done, it's called the Steam Deck. That's a slam dunk for Sony, and so I absolutely believe this rumor. Do I think it'll be called a PSP? Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if they were gonna come out with a new thing called a PSP, they wouldn't have called the PlayStation Portal the PlayStation Portal. Because that muddies things a lot. To have two things out that could be abbreviated that are handhelds called PSP.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did already break the naming convention for that with the PS Vita, when the PSP2 would have gotten people excited just fine. But they're gonna come up with some sort of stupid name, and we're all just gonna have to accept it. Because, like, if Microsoft can survive the Xbox One naming debacle, anybody can. Like Microsoft, who is currently losing very badly in the public perception.
Refreshing.
Oh crap, I got caught reloading at a bad time. Derp.
Keep pushing the package, compay.
Not doing so great this round.
Yeah, that's okay. Cool.
Probably be my last game, by the way.
Oh, okay. Alrighty then. So, on the one hand, gaming has a democratization problem. And that sounds like a strange thing to say, but it's true. Just because anyone can make a game doesn't mean everybody should. Like, there are gonna be people for a long time who are gonna hodl for crypto games that are made by like 2 people with asset flips, because modern game engines are easy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at this point, if you're really holding out for those crypto games to pay off or be any good, I don't know what else to tell you after the last 4 years.
Yeah,
basically, what's happened with crypto, like, if you really want to go in on all that, then that's your prerogative. I don't feel particularly bad for the people who are at this point still falling down the crypto hole, because there's so much empirical evidence that it's such a bad idea.
The buzzword people have moved on to AI. Whatever. The thing is that the people who are still in are in because they want to make some of their money back. Which is impossible because this was an unregulated speculation item. Like, it had no value other than people declaring that it had value. Or that it was going to have value, and that it would allow you to own your game items. I don't care. I don't value game items that much. They've always been inventory things in a game. If you're telling me that maybe the game it'll last forever.
It's like a fun but kind of juvenile idea to think, like, because I remember thinking as a kid, like, oh, it'd be cool if I could have, like, items in the game and move it to this other game. Like, if I could carry my cats over to another game, but...
That would actually have saved people money and actually have been a good thing, except that nobody wanted to do that because they all wanted to have their piece of the pie, and so everybody split the pie too small.
Yeah, and it's an idea that...
Distance slid! That's my stat!
Oh, nice. And it's just an idea that, like, when you start actually breaking it down, it's like, oh, this can't actually work in any practical sense. So
right, exactly not.
Yeah. All right, let me figure out how to not pull into another.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't do that.
Yeah, then we can take a few minutes to wrap, because this is quite the conversation, and I don't want to just to cut it off abruptly. But
yeah,
I'm thinking that we do Sea of Thieves for June, because, well, there will be Microsoft's Xbox showcase, of course. then we'll be like, well, does this look
Let
like they're
me.
going to actually stick the landing? Okay, so B is to leave
There we
lobby.
go.
Because at this point, I'm worried. I am. I mean, like, you're worried for the game's creators when their friends have been laid off. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way to not be. Um,
hmm
when everything is a slot machine, then nobody wins. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what I have to. Well, that's my like big conclusion point. Is that everything being a slot machine is a bad thing for consumers and developers and game publishers. Everybody's just trying to get rich quick because all we care about is infinite growth, and
Yeah.
it's unsustainable, and the planet is going to burn if we continue chasing crypto or anything else that requires a lot of energy. AI may not, the LLMs may just be done because they have no more internet to digest. At the end of the day, they'll maybe make the internet slightly easier for some people who like can't read. I don't know. I'm a bit worried about the mind control aspects of it, and it sounds like a conspiracy theory. But I told you, the Vision Pro is very engaging. These kinds of mixed reality helmets could be mainstream, and then we'll be talking about addiction to that instead of the real world. I don't think
see.
consoles are going to go the way of the Dodo. It's just that, well, State of Play didn't give me much confidence that, like, they could really recover to their heights either. Like, when the most excited people are for a game in your show is a Silent Hill 2 remake that looks exactly like Resident Evil 4 remake.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, okay, it just looks very similar.
The Resident Evil 4 remake looked a lot better than that, to be honest. I'm really
Oh,
have no
okay.
confidence in the Silent Hill 2 remake.
No, it's probably going to be another disastrous port that Konami rushed out because they wanted the money quick from the gullible Silent Hill fans.
Konami doesn't have enough good. Well, this is Bloober Team, first of all. So, like, Konami and Bloober Team are just not working well together,
And-
is my guess. It just seems like a bit of a mess to me.
And the thing is that Bloober Team makes good looking games, but not good playing games.
And in this instance, I feel like it doesn't even look particularly great. Like,
No,
the Medium at the time looked great,
Because
even
they
if it
had,
didn't play
like,
great at the time.
they had
This, I don't
Microsoft
even
money.
know like, it feels like Konami's just giving them a shoestring budget or something.
That is
I
a
don't know.
game that, if it had been marketed better, could have sold next gen, and like actually used the world switching to good effect, but they didn't. They did it for a kind of mediocre story, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago, but
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I got
that-
an hour or two in, and it's like, all right, I'm good.
I liked the story. I liked the setting. It was interesting for me that way, but at the same time, this was one game. Even if it had been an 11 out of 10, it would not have shifted boxes because people are too stuck. When things get too big in culture, they just move on their own inertia. So no matter how many mistakes Sony makes, as long as they have nostalgic IPs, at least
Yeah,
for the
and as
time
long
being,
as,
they're going to be
like,
fine. Same with
and
Microsoft.
If Sony does make mistakes, they just can't make mistakes that'll be big enough to force people to move over to another console. Like, as long as they still have some level of locked-in audience, that's all they really need to keep going.
Right, and
for now.
Nintendo is expanding beyond the locked-in audience by appealing to the movies and the theme parks audience that then buys the little Nintendo Switch for Timmy because it's Nintendo. Like, they have out Disneyed Disney. I think they will once Epic Universe launches, and that thing blows everybody's minds, but also probably has technical issues because every theme park has technical issues on opening because they're just testing them with smaller crowds and can't possibly predict what will happen with thousands of guests who are all very eager to rush in to rides. But like, yeah, Disney is losing on this, and Nintendo is winning. The Super Mario Brothers movie made $1 billion, and nothing that Disney has made has done that lately.
Yeah.
Well, again, like that does mean that probably the big companies will survive this. They'll just be diminished. It's not going to be like Atari going bankrupt. I don't.
I don't think that can happen to that extent with where the industry is now. Like
the gaming
there will
sides.
always be pockets, and even if you look back at the Ataris, when Atari collapsed, it didn't collapse the entire industry. It collapsed the segment that was commercially, the commercial segment of it. But you still had games coming out in that 1984, 1985 window. Especially if you look at like European microcomputers at the time.
Oh yeah,
that segment
BBC
of the industry
Micro
was still going strong at the time. It just happened to be a totally different segment than Atari was. So
Atari was its own segment because it was so big.
Yeah.
Because it was the first. Because as soon as it was the first console that got a home port of Space Invaders, that's all people wanted.
Yeah.
It was the first demonstration of that in the American market, and so it was America's console. But what happened was, well, first of all, the failure of E.T. That was a pretty big blow to the company because they invested a lot in the marketing.
Signifier of the unhealthiness of the market at the time was they churned out the most abysmal cash-in that you could at the time, and tried to get away with developing it in a very abbreviated time frame and selling it.
Right.
And the industry, or the audiences spoke back and realized oh, this is complete garbage. Why are we even,
well,
why are we still playing these things if this is what they're putting out?
Why indeed? I've tried some Atari games and they are terrible for the most part.
There's some good ones out there. I mean, Yars
sure,
Revenge, which was the that was designed by the guy who also did E.T. I think that game holds up better than most.
Well,
that's the one Atari game I would vouch for these days. That, and to some extent Adventure, although that one's a little more archaic. But hey, Yars Revenge is pretty good, and I know they just put out a new re-release of it, Yars Refueled or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I should actually wishlist that.
If I had been around at the time, I probably would have gotten it for Space Invaders if I had been a kid at the time, because that was
the Atari Space Invaders. The Atari Space Invaders is a little rough. A lot of those arcade ports at the time, especially Atari Pac-Man, are not especially great.
No.
But they did what they could with the very, very limited hardware at the time.
The other big problem for Atari, specifically, probably people shouldn't even think about the video game crash all that much anymore, except as Atari's going bankrupt. Because what happened was they had such low licensing fees that everybody made a game for this, and then the market was flooded with shovelware for the first time ever, and people were just like, but why, when I can get a microcomputer and a cassette game? Or for the more discerning console user, the Intellivision, I believe. And then other things. So they existed. The Master System existed. It just was small.
I mean, the Master System was a little later.
The SG-1000. That's what it was. But then Nintendo was like, okay, here, have plastic robot. Put us in toy section, please. That's how they snuck in, and apparently that robot was not very good. But
I've used a Rob before. It's an interesting novelty, but the funny thing is those games play way better without using it, because you can just use a second controller to play them to do the functions that Rob would do with moving the little disc thingies. So it's an interesting novelty, but really.
But then they also had Then they also packed in Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. They gave away their best games.
Such a good 1-2 punch, Well, Duck Hunt's okay. I mean, it's not the best of those early NES games, but
I don't know how it plays because it needs a light gun.
Well, yeah. I mean, the zapper worked well enough.
But that was on a CRT TV in 1983. So but anyway, well, you have a good one. I will let you go.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure when I'll be on again, because After tomorrow, I do 3 in a row. Then I'm only off for 1 day. Then I work another day. So
Oh yeah, that's
maybe Monday night, but if not Monday night, then probably Wednesday.
well, like, yeah, that works.
Okay.
The only day that
So I'll
doesn't work for
definitely,
me,
yeah.
is the only thing the day that doesn't work for me is Thursday because I'm going to Pride Night out at the National Stadium.
Oh, nice.
I just
Okay.
hope there isn't a shooting there. But my girlfriend will be there, and she's pretty strong, so she'll protect me. Anyway, yeah, you have a good
All right,
night, my
cool.
friend, and yeah, I'm excited about making this a series of like this game was fine. It's fine. So I'll
Yeah,
continue
I
that with
mean, I
others.
might I might keep this one installed and play it here and there, but we'll see. Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
had a
probably
better
not
time
gonna
with
live
it
stream it
tonight than I
again.
did my first time. I think just I played modes that I liked more, so
Well, yeah.
just had a
So
better feel for it.
that's
So
fair.
I might try it again at some point.
Yeah,
We'll
again,
see.
very fair.
Yeah,
So like my thinking is that I'll play it as long as you're playing it, but then after that I'll stop because there's like no
yeah,
point to playing this kind of
yeah,
multiplayer game that's highly dependent on teamwork by yourself. So, like I probably won't live stream it again either because I don't think this was the slam dunk that I thought it would be. Because like I just took a chance with a different game than Sea of Thieves, but next week definitely Sea of Thieves. We will have a lot of
okay,
gaming news to talk about. You have a good one, my friend. I'll see
yeah.
you
Catch you
Wednesday, I
later.
guess.
Yeah, we'll plan on that. Sounds good.
Yeah, bye.
Yep. Bye.
And you all have a good one as well.